Hello, good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight, Monday evening. I'm Roger Johnson. Thank you for joining us. Our top story. United Utilities hits back at claims of record illegal sewage spills in Windermere. Campaigners say they know of 140 breaches. Also tonight, awful April. As numerous household bills are set to rise, we ask, what can you do about it?
It's not shameful to need help. A lot of people need help. I'm just happen to be one of them at the moment.
We're in Blackburn for the first Eid prayers in a brand new mosque. Going wild at Chester Zoo, the new savannah is the largest habitat of its kind ever in the UK.
And Posty Dave sent this photograph in. We had a lot of cloud around this morning, didn't we? But it continued to break up, and I have got some great news for the rest of the week. So join me at the end of the programme.
Campaigners say that last year was the worst on record for illegal sewage being discharged into Windermere. Two environmental groups say that they have analysed data from United Utilities, but the water company says the findings are inaccurate and some of the information is wrong. Mairead Smith has the story.
Windermere in the Lake District is England's largest lake. Campaigners say analysis of data from United Utilities shows sewage spilled illegally into the water on a record number of days last year.
In 2024, at these 6 different pumping stations and treatment works, we found 140 days when they'd been in breach of their permits. They weren't treating as much as they should be when they were spilling untreated sewage.
United Utilities have questioned the methodology used by the campaigners and say the numbers are inaccurate and say erroneous data has been used. Tags and naming conventions in data sets appear to have been misunderstood, and the methodology fails to use other corroborating information from the sites which would prove that spills did not occur. United Utilities say they are delivering £200 million of investment to ensure they treat wastewater to even higher standards, alongside significantly reducing discharges, and say previous investment has already led to a 28% reduction in the duration of storm overflow spills in the last year.
We're investing the £200 million across 9 of the 10 treatment works we have in the Windermere area and all 6 storm overflows. It's going to make a huge difference. So it's going to reduce the amount of storm overflow duration hours by 89%.
Windermere is home to more than 14,000 people, and it attracts an estimated 7 million visitors a year. But sewage discharges contribute to so-called algal blooming, and that impacts the beauty of this place.
We've been coming here for so long, and it always looks really beautifully clean, but I suppose it takes a lot of effort, doesn't it, to keep it that way.
You just got to look at the views, just look at the people and the smiling and what have you, and etc. But yes, it's a shame about the quality of the water.
It all comes as our water bills are set to rise by £86 per year from tomorrow, which United Utilities say will help fund the largest investment in water and wastewater infrastructure in over 100 years. Mairead Smith, BBC North West Today.
A story we will, of course, keep returning to. Now let's take a look at some of the other stories making headlines in the North West tonight. And a 28-year-old man who was the ringleader of a grooming gang has admitted multiple sexual offences. Ashley William Derbyshire from West Horton pleaded guilty to 19 charges at Liverpool Crown Court. The offences mainly happened in Wigan and involved 5 underage girls. His guilty pleas follow a trial earlier this year when 8 other men were convicted of abuse. Derbyshire and the others will be sentenced next month. More than 50 firefighters brought a large plastics fire under control at a factory in Blackburn early today. Explosions were heard as smoke rose over the Shadsworth industrial estate near the Royal Blackburn Hospital. The hospital stayed open, but residents were warned to keep their windows and doors shut. An 84-year-old man has died more than a month after he was attacked by an XL bully dog in Warrington. Cheshire police say the man sustained serious injuries as he walked home. A 30-year-old man from Liverpool has previously been charged with dangerous dog offences. A woman whose body was found in the River Mersey a year ago has been identified after a relative recognised a reconstruction of her face. Experts produced this image of what she would have looked like after her remains were found near Chorlton Water Park. DNA has now proved that she was 38-year-old Laura Stanley. Police are investigating Laura's death and reviewing whether they acted properly when she was reported missing. The Prime Minister has praised Netflix for making the drama Adolescence available to show in schools for free. Sir Keir Starmer says he saw the programme, which is set in Liverpool, with his teenage children and found it difficult to watch. Now, from tomorrow, many household bills are going up. I'm sure you know already. It's been described as awful April. Water, energy bills, council tax, car tax, all going up. A worrying time for a lot of people. Our political editor, Annabel Tiffin, has been speaking to some working people who still need help from charities in order to get by.
The 1st of April is Price Hike Day, the day when many household bills are going up. And sadly, this isn't an April Fool's. From tomorrow, several increases are springing to life. Energy, water, council tax, car tax, NHS dental charges, the BBC licence fee and stamp duty, all going up at a time when many families are already struggling to make ends meet. At St Peter's in Salford, the Bread and Butter Thing van has arrived to help people out. For £8.50, you get 3 bags of food.
Hi, it's Deborah Burke.
Fabulous. That's £8.50.
Deborah works part-time as an exam invigilator. Husband Steve receives the state pension, but it just isn't enough to cover all their bills.
What I save on my food here, I can put onto my gas, so I've got heating.
If you're anxious about bills, you're not alone. The charity says it's seen a marked increase in low-earning working families using their services.
It is a growing demographic of people that are in low-paid work, that are food insecure and are really struggling to get by. Particularly people that are working, they'll hide it from their colleagues or they'll hide it from their kids.
In the North West, water bills will go up on average by £86 a year, energy up by about £110. The TV licence fee is going up by £5, as is car tax for some. And many of us will pay 5% more in council tax. But if you live in Trafford, it's going up by 7.5%. David lives with his wife in Little Holton. They both work full-time, but they too use the Bread and Butter Thing charity when things get particularly tight.
Even though we might budget for our outgoings throughout a month, we might find halfway through a month, if something comes up, so the money's got to come from somewhere. So it's really helpful having something that we can sort of lean back on.
How do you feel the fact that, you and your wife both work, but it's still a struggle sometimes?
It's quite upsetting, disappointing by the way that we go to work 40 hours a week. We still find that we do need to, rely on other forms of help to basically get through our day-to-day.
So how did you feel when you first had to come here?
Oh, terrible the first time. And then when I seen all the people here, and I thought, no, it's something that's needed. And my shame and embarrassment went, and it's not shameful to need help. A lot of people need help. I'm just happen to be one of them at the moment. So
there you go. There's your
there you go.
Thank you for talking. There's a big
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. See you again. Bye.
Some of the good work being done there. That was Annabel Tiffin reporting, of course. Let's talk more about this, because National Energy Action campaigns to end fuel poverty. I've been speaking to Matt Copeland, who's its head of policy and public affairs, and I asked him how concerning the continuing price rises are.
We're very concerned. Third successive price cap increase, and this is taking energy prices up to the same level pretty much where we were a few years ago when the government started to take emergency measures to help people with their bills. And we know specifically people with, for example, health conditions who need to stay warmer at home or need to power electrical equipment at home are finding it really hard to do so at the current level of the price cap. So when it goes up in price now, it's going to be even harder for those households to cope.
Are there any clever little tips or bits of advice you can give people who might be facing a situation where it pushes them past the tipping point of being able to cope?
If you can't cope, my main advice is you need to speak to your energy supplier. There are certain things that they have to do to help you, and certain places they can put you towards to get support. So it's really, really important you do pick up the phone and try and speak to your energy supplier. But also, if you're struggling, I'd recommend that you go and speak to your local citizens' advice as well. They can do things like help you get on the right benefits, making sure that your income's as high as it could be, but also helping you with all the different aspects of your bills and outgoings as well. So we're very worried if prices continue to sustain at this level with no substantive support on offer, then it is going to get even more difficult for people.
And in what way could that happen? What form could that take?
So there's three things that we think could happen, or need to happen, really. Firstly, we need to make homes more energy efficient. We have a very leaky housing stock in the country, and that will require government legislation and government funding as well to help people. We also just need cheaper energy for the poorest people. So we've been campaigning for a social tariff, but there are many different ways in which the government can provide financial support to help people directly reduce their energy bills. And thirdly, that debt problem. We need people to be able to reduce their debts, and they're not going to be able to do that without financial support to do so. So we need the government, we need Ofgem and energy companies to work together to find out how we can reduce people's debts, clear those debts, and help people to afford their energy much more easily.
Matt Copeland from National Energy Action, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Just to bring you a bit of breaking news this evening, parts of Moore Park in Preston have been sealed off this evening after a teenage boy was stabbed. It understood that it happened around 4 o'clock this afternoon. The police are there. The air ambulance has been called as well. That's a boy stabbed in Moore Park in Preston. That incident is ongoing. We'll have the very latest for you on that on our late news at 10:30. You can also follow updates during the evening on the BBC News website and app. Plenty of stuff to read there during the course of the evening. Here are some of the other stories that people are looking at tonight. And a man from Rochdale has admitted taking top secret data home on his mobile phone while working as an intern at GCHQ. Hassan Arshad will be sentenced in June. Tony is Lancashire's longest serving police community support officer. He's now 75. Tony says he's got no plans to retire. And Michael talks about running the Liverpool Half Marathon, carrying his young son. Michael started running after he and his wife lost another child 4 years ago. You can find out more at bbc.co.uk/local news, or you can find it all on the BBC News app. Now, the region's Muslim communities are celebrating Eid to mark the end of Ramadan, of course. It's a day when families spend time together and share food and gifts. It all began this morning with prayer, and it was a special first at Blackburn's newest mosque, as Kevin Fitzpatrick found out.
A morning prayer to begin a day of celebrations. Eid's one of the most significant festivals in the Islamic calendar, and it comes after a long period of abstinence.
Today is what we call the day of Eid al-Fitr, which is a day of celebration that comes after the month of Ramadan. So after 29 days of fasting from sunrise to sunset, the day of Eid comes after that as a means of celebration, as a means of joy.
At the Al-Barak Masjid, a mosque in Blackburn, local Muslim men have gathered to start their day together. It's the biggest event here since it recently opened after a 7-year build.
It was heartwarming, and all the effort and all the hours we have put into this, today it's kind of made it all worthwhile.
The date of Eid moves around 11 days earlier each year, as the end of Ramadan is determined by the sighting of the crescent moon.
A beautiful month of fasting and spirituality and reflection, but more importantly than that, it's just a time to also remember those who are less fortunate than yourselves.
It's just part of our makeup, our DNA, our religion. It means everything.
For the region's Muslim community, Eid is a spiritual and cultural highlight. Kevin Fitzpatrick, BBC North West Tonight, Blackburn.
Right, let's move on to sport. Ian is here for us again this evening, and well, Manchester City fans must be pretty chuffed because it seems like their disappointing season, largely disappointing, could end with a trophy.
Yeah, could
Maybe.
be the operative word there, Rog. Yeah, the manager, Pep Guardiola, has already condemned the team's season really as poor and stressed that Champions League qualification is now the big aim, as well as winning the FA Cup. They'll play Nottingham Forest in the semi-final at Wembley after coming from a goal down to win 2-1 at Bournemouth yesterday. But Preston's FA Cup dream is over. The Championship side were beaten convincingly by Aston Villa, for whom on-loan Manchester United man Marcus Rashford scored twice. It was another Championship game without conceding a goal for Burnley on Saturday as they beat Bristol City thanks to this Zian Fleming free kick. Tough game at Coventry next for the Clarets. Are Blackpool going to be the team that sneaks into the League One playoff places? They held their chances with a 2-1 win against Bolton. Niall Ennis with the Seasiders winner, while Morecambe helped their survival prospects with a 1-0 win over Swindon. Lee Angle's goal moves them off the bottom, but they're 7 points from safety, if you can see that. Must have been a bit rainy there. Some of the EFL headlines there, but it was also a big day at Wigan Athletic, where new manager Ryan Lowe took charge of his first home game. The former Bury and Preston boss has taken over a side that's been struggling somewhat in League One, but Saturday brought some renewed optimism. Saturday was Community Day at Wigan Athletic, and after a season of underachievement, supporters were hoping it might also be a home win sort of day, with new manager Ryan Lowe at the helm.
We try to be upbeat, but sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. Hopefully now we've got a new manager. He's a good one, so we'll see what happens.
He needs his summer transfer window to get a squad he's happy with, get his ideology and his team right.
Looks like he's changing it up a bit today from normal formation, so hopefully it changes results.
We're just got to get through to the end of the season, see how he shapes up, and then next year we're gonna smash it.
Smash it?
We're going to smash it next year, yeah, without doubt.
The Barnsley and Wigan players lining up, just about to walk out onto the pitch. A win for Wigan today would take them 10 points clear of the relegation zone. You can almost feel the tension, the excitement. I feel like I shouldn't be here, really. But I am.
Come on, let's go! Come on, boys!
So really pleased, fantastic. All the fans were excellent as well. Really got behind the group when they knew what was happening, and we were really fighting to try and get that extra goal to take the 3 points. But as I've always said to the group, if you can't win it, you certainly don't lose it, and it's a good point.
Wigan host Bolton tomorrow night, a derby the Latics usually win. In the Women's Super League, Manchester United are closing in on Champions League qualification after a 2-0 win over Everton yesterday. Elsewhere, Manchester City won at Brighton. Liverpool were beaten by Aston Villa, though. On to Super League, and Wigan's mini blip ended emphatically yesterday with a 54-0 thrashing of Salford Red Devils, whose ongoing financial issues aren't going away, it seems. While on Saturday, St Helens narrowly beat Catalan Dragons 14 points to 13. There's no Super League this coming weekend because it's the Challenge Cup. An up-and-coming sail boxer, Pat Brown, who you might remember we featured on this programme recently, has won his first professional fight that took place at the weekend. A last-minute change of opponent meant the cruiserweight ended up facing Federico Grandoni. Brown stopped the Argentine in 4 rounds in Altrincham. Could be the start of a promising career, Rog.
Well, you said so. You said, yeah, we followed lots of them over the years, haven't we? So
I called it.
You did. Well done. I'm sure that's made Pat very happy. Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you. Right, we've got the weather with Kay in just a moment. But first, Cheshire is famous for the Cheshire Plain. I remember that, of course, from back in O-level geography back in the day. We all know that. Africa's got plains as well. And this weekend, a little piece of that continent will arrive in Chester. The 22-acre African savanna at Chester Zoo is the largest habitat of its kind created in the UK. It's home to 57 species. You won't get an insurance quote there, though. Alice Scarf has been to see them today.
This is the first time Chester Zoo have mixed species together in one space. Across this 22-acre site, giraffes, zebras, antelopes and ostrich have just become housemates. So Sam, how was it for you guys integrating these guys for the first time?
Well, we were really apprehensive at first because obviously the giraffes, where they've lived before, some of them had never left that enclosure. They were born in that enclosure, so we were really apprehensive about moving them over. Obviously, the move day itself was quite stressful, but we managed to get all the giraffes moved in one day over to the new enclosure.
How was that first moment introducing the giraffes and the zebras? Can you just describe that, you opening them gates?
Initially, the zebras were quite confident on this paddock because actually this is their old paddock. So they were quite confident. They went over to the giraffes and then, of course, the giraffes chased them. So now the zebras are standing back a bit more. But yeah, that first day of opening that gate was like, oh, what's going to happen now?
This is the largest habitat of its kind in the UK, and tears have quite literally been put into it.
You know, we're super proud. You know, there's lots of tears over the last few weeks from our staff being really excited, but really passionate about the work that they do here. Everything they do in their job here is around about saving species and around trying to help conservation and educating people around biodiversity and conservation, not only here in our home in Chester, but worldwide.
Oh, hello. Are you coming as well, Kamsi?
Zoo members also got a sneak preview today and praised the new habitat.
It's brilliant. It's absolute seeing them all together. You see the zebras and the giraffes are there, but it's nice seeing the extra space in the rest of the zoo where the other animals have been able to move around and have a bigger area to themselves.
It more mimics the natural environment as well, which is it's nicer because they'll have different interactions. I think Chester Zoo have needed something like this for a long time.
We've been coming since last year with our daughter, and she absolutely loves the giraffe, so she was disappointed when they moved away. So the fact that they're now back and mixing with other animals is great.
Working closely with African communities, Chester Zoo hopes visitors will be inspired to make sure Africa's wildlife not only survives, but thrives into the future. Alice Scarf, BBC North West Tonight, Chester.
There you go, the African savannah comes to Chester. I just declared to my esteemed weather colleague that it was my first school trip to Chester Zoo, to which you replied...
I didn't realise it was open in the 20s.
All right. 1931 it opened.
See?
Neither
it wasn't
of us
open then.
Listen, I'm not that much older than you. Get on with the weather, otherwise you'll be in trouble.
Lovely to see you, as always, with great news this week. Oh, finally, we've got dry, settled weather, all thanks to high pressure. I'll come on to that in a minute. On the Isle of Man this morning, Min's mum took this photograph. A lot of cloud. I know we all saw a lot of cloud lingering for a good deal of the day, didn't we? But Maureen just snapped this photograph as the cloud started to break some blue skies. Lovely photos, thank you for sending them in. If you would like to get your photos on the telly, do join me on socials or become a BBC Weather Watcher and I'll do my best to get them on for you. So, great news for the weather this week and into the weekend and at this stage into next week as well. So, a lot of dry and fine weather and temperatures are on the rise for a couple of days this week, all thanks to high pressure dominating our weather. Now, as high pressure starts to scoot just a little bit further east, you can see how it makes that track. West becomes best for sunshine amounts, which means for the higher temperatures and quite a little bit less fresh winds. So we are going to be in the best place for the weather. So the cloud finally broke up, didn't it? Now, it's going to continue to melt away as we head overnight tonight. Plenty of clear skies. Now, that will allow a little bit of mist and fog to form in some places and temperatures to drop down, probably just on the outskirts of the peaks, around about 2 degrees. On the Isle of Man, we're looking at about 7 degrees. We've got a moderate southeasterly breeze. It will be gusting a little bit, about 20, 25 miles per hour, so a fresh breeze. But out of that breeze through tomorrow, in the sunshine, of which there will be plenty, it should feel rather pleasant. Now, you might notice an extra name on the weather map. Elizabeth, that one's for you, Parbold, West Lancashire. Apparently one of the best places to live in the UK. Top temperatures between 12 and 17 degrees as we head through tomorrow. And temperatures will continue to pick up. As that high pressure stays further east, we drag up more southerly air. So actually for Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures will continue to climb. If you look at the map, now, not a lot on there, really, apart from Elizabeth, Parbold. Plenty dry and fine weather. I do think at times we are going to have some upper-level cloud, just making the sunshine hazy from time to time, but it's not really going to have a knock-on effect. Temperatures around about 16, 17 degrees. Cumbria, the highest. I think we could possibly get to 18 degrees. And then, as we head, I mean, look at that. We've not seen an outlook like that for a long time, have we? Things will turn a little bit cooler as we head into the weekend. That's post-cold front Friday, but there won't be really any rain on it. It's just going to have an impact on temperatures. Other than that, dry and fine weather. There you go.
It's all right, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah, not often you bring us that much sunshine.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you've come again, can't you? Youngster.
He's cross with me.
No,
Can't talk to him.
No, I'm not. That's it. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Don't say. We'll be back with the late news at 10:30. Have a great evening.
Take care.
Good night.